and slate respectively. That is, when we compress limestone, we have marble, that which is an example of a metamorphic rock. And when we compress sandstone, we have quartzite, and when we compress soft shale, we have a slate, which means that our sedimentary rock has metamorphosized to a metamorphic rock, where we now have a marble, quartzite, and slate, which are formerly sandstone, which are formerly limestone, sandstone, and soft shale, respectively. Whereby, and also, when we compress granite, which is an igneous rock, we obtain gneiss, which is a metamorphic rock. The following characteristics are common to both sedimentary and metamorphic rock, and also distinguish them from igneous rock. Both sedimentary and metamorphic rocks have similar layers arrangement, that is, they are formed in layers. Then two, both are formed from non-crystalline minerals. Then the third similarity is that both are formed from previous rocks. Our next topic that we'll be looking at here is soil formation and profile development. Soil is a thin layer of the earth's crust and is a natural medium for plant growth. Although we have artificial medium for plant growth, but the natural medium that we have for plant growth is the soil. The soil also serves as a reservoir for plant nutrients, water, and oxygen required for optimal performance of plants. And it's also the medium for the growth of plant roots and other living organisms like insects and earthworms. That is, the soil does not only serve as a reservoir of nutrients, water, and oxygen for plant growth. It also serves as a medium for the growth of plant roots. You know, we can't see the plant root with our physical eye. That is, it's not at the surface level. It's a medium for the growth of plants, and it also serves as medium for the growth of organisms, like the bacteria that helps in fixing nitrogen in legumes. And so it also serves as a medium that is an habitat for insects, like earthworms and other insects that can be found within the soil. Now we're looking at the importance of soil. Soil supports the plants and holds them up firmly. That is, soil is a medium that helps in holding our plants in such a way that they don't fall. Just like now, if you put a plant, just like a tomato or your maize, and you just put it on the ground just like that, it will fall. But you planting your crop, maybe your seed inside the soil serves as a medium that helps in holding the plant firmly. The second one that we'll be looking at, that is the importance of soil, is that soil provides water and mineral salts for plant use. The third one is that the soil provides nutrients for plant growth. And the fourth one is that soil provides oxygen for root respiration, and also provides oxygen for the respiration of living organisms living in the soil. Now we'll be looking at the factors of soil formation. There are 5 major factors which influence the soil formation. Namely, we have the parent rock, we have climate, we have living organism, we have topography, and then we have time. We'll be looking at them one after the other, the first one being the parent rock or material. The parent rock constitutes the principal material from which the soil are formed, either from transported or deposited weathered products. The chemical and the minerals of the parent rocks account for the difference in the fertility of the soils that are formed. That is, now the minerals that makes up the weathered rock will determine the fertility of the soil. That is, how fertile, and then the type of nutrients that we can find in the different soil. For example, a parent material consisting only of cards will eventually form a very poor sandy soil. And if some minerals like mica and feldspar are also present, then the soil formed will contain some clay. This has explained the reason why we have different types of soil, and then the variation in the nutrients or minerals present in the soil from one area from the other. Now we're looking at the second factor, that is the second factors that influence soil formation, which is climate. There are two main elements of climate which affect soil formation are temperature and rainfall. The alternating heating and cooling of rocks results in the continual expansion and contraction of rocks, which eventually results in cracks in the rocks and its consequent breakdown into smaller pieces to form soil. That is, when we have, just like now, if you pour your water inside a glass cup and there is uneven expansion of the glass cup, it tends to crack. So likewise, the rock, when there is a continuous heating and cooling, that is sudden heating and the heating process and then the sudden cooling process, the rock will crack due to this uneven expansion and contraction, which result from the heating and then the cooling of the rock. And when this happens and there is a crack in the rock, once other agents of weathering acts on that rock to start to disintegrate gradually to form smaller particles. While the action of running water from rainfall during erosion causes the gradual wearing away of rocks. That is, when I've talked about, I've explained that of the action of temperature. Now, after the variation in temperature, that is the increase in the heating effect and then the cooling effect on the rock, and it has caused crack. Now, once there's rainfall and there's erosion, that is, there's running water over the rock. Now, the running water will now carry along with it the broken particles of the rock to move it from the whole mass of the rock and then go and deposit it somewhere else. Rainfall also provides water for hydrolysis of rock. That is, that has to do with the chemical reactions of the minerals present in the rock. And once the minerals, there's a reaction, new products are being formed. And once that new product is being formed, well, other agents of weathering can easily act on it, just like the running water acting on it and washing away the soft part of the rock. Then the third factor that influence soil formation is living organism. Living organisms affect the process of soil formation in the following ways. Number one, the plant and animal remains decay with the aid of bacteria and then results in the formation of humus, which is rich in plant nutrients. That is, when a plant and animal dies, that is, after the death, they decay, and with the aid of bacteria. And this results, and after the decay, at least there will be something being formed. It's a chemical reaction. Once this that happens, the remains is being called humus, which is rich in plant nutrients. Then the second way that living organisms actually aid soil formation is that living organisms break down the decaying matter further and mix it with the soil particles. Just like the ants and the termites, they actually aid the breakdown of the dead wood and other dead materials, and then they mix it. Not that they only aid it. After breaking it down, they mix it with the soil particles, thereby increasing the volume of the soil particles that we are having. That is, we now have more soil. Then the third way is that termites and earthworms and rodents and other burrowing animals mix the minerals and organic matter together and help in the soil formation. And while the last way that living organisms aid soil formation is that the activities of many of human beings during tillage and other farm operation indirectly helps to break down rocks into tiny pieces to form soil. Now we'll now be looking at the other factor, the fourth factor that affects or influence soil formation, which is topography. Topography influences soil formation in the following ways. It influences the types of erosion that may occur in an area. If an area is slopy, that is, the slope is very high, what we'll be having there, the type of erosion we'll be having there will be quite high. That is, that area will be prone to erosions like gully erosions, and once we have erosions like that, it will move the particles from one point and then go and deposit it in another area, or wash the soft part of rocks. Once the soft part of the rock is being eroded, it will go and deposit all those fine particles in other area to form soil. Topography also determines the drainage condition and then the groundwater level in the soil. Then the third way is that the nature of the topography also affects the type of soil being formed. The steepness of slope influences the soil depths. When the slope is steep, the soil erosion is rapid and leads to shallow